Welcome lore lovers to Lion Drag. Today we delve into the enigmatic world of League of Legends where magic and mayhem intertwine. Our focus, none other than the fiery prodigy herself, Annie. In the shadow crevices of the mountains north of Naxos resides a singular figure, a child of both wonder and danger. Annie, a mage of unparalleled pyromantic prowess, embodies a paradox of innocence and power. From her earliest days, flames dance at her fingertips, sparked by emotional tempest that belied her tender age. Yet, through trials and tribulations, she learned to tame these fiery whims, turning them into playful tricks of her own. At the heart of her arcane arsenal lies a beloved companion, Tibbers, a teddy bear brought to life in a blaze of inferno. With him by her side, Annie roams the dark forest, seeking playmates in the most unlikely of places, but beware, for behind her cherubic facade lies a force to be reckoned with. Welcome to the world of Annie, where every spark ignites a story waiting to be told. In the twilight of Boram's Darkwheel's reign, Noxus found itself shrouded in uncertainty, prompting a mass exodus of magically inclined individuals seeking refuge in the tranquility of distant provinces. Among them were Gregory the Grey and his wife, Emmeline, a witch of formidable power. Rather than entangle themselves in the political machinations of noble houses, the couple opted to assert their knacks and resilience by venturing into the untamed borderlands. Staking their claim beyond the formidable Ironspike Mountains to the north, Gregory and Emmeline established a humble abode just before the onset of winter, eagerly anticipating the arrival of their first child. Enthralled by tales of the legendary shadow bears that once roamed the land, Emmeline, heavily pregnant, whiled away the hours by the hearth, fashioning a toy rendition of the protective creatures. As she deftly sewed the final button eye onto the stuffed bear, the throes of labor seized her, signaling the imminent arrival of their daughter. Later, Gregory would fondly recount how their child seemed eager to greet her new plaything, for it was amidst the confronting glow of ember-lit flames that Emmeline ushered Annie into the world. During Annie's tender years, both she and her father fell prey to illness. As night descended, Annie's fever surged, rendering her too hot to be cradled in her mother's embrace. Faced with desperation, Emmeline resolved to retrieve frigid water from the nearby river. By morning's light, Gregory stirred from his weakened state, only to find a rejuvenated Annie frolicking with her cherished companion, Tibbers, in the grip. Yet the absence of Emmeline loomed large. In her innocence, Annie clung to the hope of her mother's eventual return. Gregory often discovered his daughter nestled in Emmeline's vacant rocking chair by the hearth, clutching Tibbers tightly as she gazed into the flickering flames, where once only cold ashes remained. He attributed these moments of reverie to the challenges of single parenthood. As years rolled by, an influx of settlers graced the region with their presence. And amidst this changing landscape, Gregory crossed paths with Liana, a woman seeking solace beyond the capital's confines, accompanied by her own daughter, Daisy. Annie yearned for companionship, yet her every upbringing as an only child had left her accustomed to indulgence, making it challenging to adapt to her newly stepped family. Whenever Emily's fiery temper flared, Liana, uneasy with outbursts, swiftly sided with her own daughter, leaving Gregory to navigate the delicate balance between the three. Unfamiliar with the perils of the untamed borderlands, Daisy's innocent play unwittingly led to tragedy for the family. Naturally, Liana placed blame on Annie for the loss of her daughter, directing her anguish and fury towards Annie's most cherished possession, Tibbers. Annie watched in horror as the last tangible connection to her mother faced peril. Overwhelmed by fear and rage, Annie's latent pyromantic abilities surged forth, bringing Tibbers to life in a protective inferno. As the flames subsided and the ash settled, Annie found herself orphaned and alone. Distrustful of city dwellers, whom she perceived to be akin to her stepmother, Annie retreated to the untamed reaches of her frontier homeland. Occasionally, she would employ her disarming charm to briefly integrate into pioneers' families, if only to secure new attire and a warm meal. However, any attempt to separate Annie from Tibbers was met with fiery resistance and swift retribution. Under Tibbers' protective watch, Annie roams the shadowed forest of Naxos, heedless of the peril she poses to herself and others with her unchecked powers, yearning for the day she might find kinship with someone who understands her desire to play. At a certain juncture, Annie found herself in a tavern under the proprietorship of a man named Marcin. Skipping through the tavern's entrance with an air of innocence, Annie approached Marcin and made an unusual request for a cup of milk, leaving him perplexed but obliging nonetheless. As Marcin fetched the beverage, Annie tendered payment in the form of a bulging pouch of coins. far surpassing the requisite amount. Nearby, a bounty hunter took notice of the sizable sum and pressed Annie for its origin. Ignoring his persistence, the young girl reached her limit, summoning Tibbers, who swiftly dispatched the bounty hunter and engulfed the tavern in flames. Gratefully acknowledging the bartender, Annie departed as the structure collapsed into smoldering ruins. Upon hearing whispers of a young girl wielding fire magic amidst the northern Ironspikes mountains, the Ravenbloom Conservatory dispatched a scout named Flynn Retrick to investigate. Having a personal history with Emmeline, Flynn recognized Annie as her daughter upon encountering her. Tasked with retrieving the demon Tybalt and uncovering Emmeline's involvement with Annie, Flynn escorted Annie back to the conservatory, where she was promptly enrolled as their latest student. Within the confines of the conservatory, Annie forged friendships with her fellow classmates, all of whom possessed their own magical aptitudes. Among them were Daani, an Uvi Kadvastaya, Sidel, a young boy, and Faye, a prodigious student. Annie's innate talent for fire magic quickly garnered attention, particularly due to her direct connection to Tybalt, a valuable asset coveted by the school. Despite her potential, Annie proved to be a tempestuous and mischievous pupil, defying the faculty's attempts at discipline. Ultimately, her fiery temperament reached a boiling point, culminating in a cataclysmic event where she summoned Tibbers in full force, engulfing the entire academy in flames and necessitating a hasty evacuation as the institution succumbed to ash and ember. Even though she's still a child according to the current lore, our protagonist has a lot of relationships worth talking about, like Annie's loyal companion Tybalt, known affectionately as Tibbers, resides as a fire demon imprisoned within her beloved stuffed teddy bear. Initially contained within Emmeline's own body, Tybalt found his new dwelling within Annie's toy bear when Emmeline, in an act of magic and sacrifice, transferred him to cure her daughter's illness. Tibbers holds a dual role in Annie's life, as her cherished friend and the embodiment of her lost family. With the tragic demise of her loved ones, Tibbers becomes the sole remnant of Annie's mother, Emmeline. Consequently, Annie forms an unbreakable bond with Tibbers, fiercely protective of him, and becomes consumed with fury at any attempt to harm or separate them. However, for Tybalt, Annie is merely a vessel for his powers. Despite this, he admires Annie's indomitable spirit, recognizing her as the first mortal capable of subduing him. Annie's devoted father, Gregory, affectionately called her Firefly and assumed the role of her caregiver following Emmeline's inexplicable disappearance. Despite remarrying, Gregory's love for Annie remained unwavering. He acted as a bridge between Annie and her stepmother, Leanna, mitigating conflicts arising from Annie's supernatural abilities. Tragically, Gregory perished while safeguarding Annie during a fire she inadvertently caused, prioritizing her safety over his own. Emmeline, Annie's biological mother, crafted Tibbers as a heartfelt gift upon Annie's birth, weaving her love and magic into the stuffed bear. In a desperate bid to save her ailing daughter from a severe fever, Emmeline infused Annie with the powers of Tybalt, sacrificing herself in the process. Annie clung to the hope of Emmeline's return, her longing fueled by drawings and fervent waits by the heart. Despite Annie's yearning, she grappled with the unsettling reality of her mother's absence, finding solace and connection in Tibbers, the last tangible link to Emmeline. Daisy, Annie's stepsister and Liana's daughter, shared a close bond with Annie, often engaging in playful activities together. However, as Annie's fiery temper and powers became evident, Daisy grew fearful. An incident where Annie inadvertently ignited Tibbers during a game intensified Daisy's trepidation towards the stuffed bear. Tragedy struck during a carefree adventure by the river, chasing after a fairy. Daisy slipped into the rushing waters and Annie, driven by desperation, attempted to rescue her using Tibbers. Unwittingly, Annie's emotions caused Tibbers to heat up, frightening Daisy further. Despite Annie's efforts, Daisy succumbed to the river's currents, leaving Annie consumed by guilt and sorrow. Liana, Annie's stepmother, entered the family fold through her marriage to Gregory. Annie's persistent fixation on her birth mother, Emmeline, strained her relationship with Liana, who found Annie's behavior increasingly unsettling, particularly her drawings of Emmeline. Tensions escalated as Annie's interactions with Daisy revealed her volatile temper and magical abilities. Following Daisy's tragic demise, Liana openly blamed Annie, branding her a monster. In the aftermath of the ensuing chaos, Liana's attempt to destroy Tibbers triggered Annie's latent powers, resulting in her demise at Tibbers' hands. Annie's connection to the Ravenbloom Conservatory stemmed from her mother Emmeline, who was a former student. Headmistress Telsi dispatched Finn Retrick to retrieve Emmeline, only to return with Annie, recognizing her as Emmeline's daughter, imbued with Tybalt's power. At the conservatory, Annie's raw magical potential was evident, but her unruly behavior made her a challenge to instruct. Despite attempts to guide her, Annie's outburst culminated in the destruction of the school, leaving a trail of ashes in her wake. Dani, a newbie cat Vastaya and Annie's classmate at the Ravenbroom Conservatory, shared a playful rapport with her. Annie regarded Dani as her second best friend, enjoying his company and curious about his perception of Tibbers' magical aura, a trait unique to Dani's abilities. Sidel Kitera, another student at the Ravenbroom Conservatory, possesses a remarkable affinity for spiders, demonstrated through his bond with his pet arachnid Fang. Despite his penchant for mischief and skirting the rules, Sidel forms an unlikely camaraderie with Annie, bonding over their shared penchant for troublemaking. While Sidel may prefer to shirk responsibilities, Annie's playful suggestion of inciting chaos by burning down the school piques his interest. Despite Annie's struggles with pronunciation, she affectionately refers to Sidel as Mr. Kitera. Faye, hailed as a prodigy within the Ravenbroom Conservatory, commands formidable telekinetic abilities and enjoys the favor of headmistress Telsi. Tasked with maintaining order among unruly students, Faye crosses paths with Annie during a training session, intrigued by her latent potential. Under the subtle guidance of the headmistress, Faye endeavors to persuade Annie to explore her abilities further, potentially seeking to groom her for greater mastery. LeBlanc, the enigmatic leader of the Black Rose, a clandestine faction within Naxos, wields considerable influence over institutions such as the Ravenbroom Conservatory. Though she has never directly encountered any, LeBlanc's machinations extend to the experimentation with demons, including the infusion of Tybolg into Annie's mother, Emmeline. It is widely speculated that the disappearance of Emmeline and the subsequent retrieval of both her and Tybolg were orchestrated by the Black Rose. While Annie has never crossed paths with Mordekaiser, legend suggests that Tybolg was once ensnared by him during his tyrannical reign over Naxos. Prior to be harnessed by the Black Rose at the Ravenbroom Conservatory, Tybolg likely endured servitude under Mordekaiser's ironclad rule, marking a dark chapter in the demon's history intertwined with the annals of Naxian lore. As we conclude our exploration into the intricate tapestry of Annie's story, lore lovers, we hope you found this journey to the realms of Naxos both enlightening and captivating. From the fiery depths of her pyromantic prowess to the tangled web of her relationships with those around her, Annie's tale is as rich and complex as the world she inhabits. If you've enjoyed delving into the lore of League of Legends with us, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more immersive adventures into the depths of gaming lore. Join our Discord community to engage in lively discussions, share your insights and connect with fellow lore enthusiasts. Together, let's continue to unravel the mysteries and legends that define the worlds we love. Until next time, lore lovers, may your curiosity be forever ignited and your journeys to the lore be as thrilling as Annie's fiery escapades.